And of course, this is the way of the people of the path, that Ramadan is a dear friend that comes to visit once a year. And so there's anticipation for the friend's arrival, and there's sadness when we know that the friend will be leaving soon. So, in that vein, Maulana Rumi is writing this poem celebrating the arrival of Ramadan. He says, O moon-faced beloved, the month of Ramadan has arrived. Cover the table and open the path of praise. O fickle busybody, it's time to change your ways. Can you see the one who's selling halwa? How long will it be, the halwa that you desire? Just a glimpse of the halwa maker has made you so sweet, even honey says, I'll put myself beneath your feet like soil and worship at your shrine. Your chick frets within the egg, with all your eating and choking. Break out of your shell, that your wings may grow. Let yourself fly. The lips of the master are parched from calling on the beloved. The sound of your call resounds through the horn of your empty belly. Let nothing be inside you. Be empty. Give your lips to the lips of the reed, when like a reed you will fill with his breath. When like a reed you fill with his breath, then you will taste the sweetness. Sweetness is hidden in the breath that fills the reed. So be like Mary, Sayyidatuna Maryam. By that sweet breath, a child grew within her. So, from these beautiful words of Maulana Rumi, which with most of his poems, we just want to be silent after and just let it soak in. But just to draw our attention to a couple words which really will frame our discussion today, he says, let nothing be inside you. Be empty. Give your lips to the lips of the reed. When like a reed you fill with his breath, then you'll taste the sweetness. So Rumi begins his magnum opus, the Mesnavi, as everyone knows, with the 18 lines about the reed flute, the ne na me, the ne. And he's giving this example that a human being, the goal of truly being human is to be empty, like a reed, so that the divine breath can blow through you. And he says the awliya, the saints, the friends of God, they have become true reed flutes because they've emptied themselves of themselves. And if you're full of yourself, how can the breath pass through? It's stopped up. The music box is full. It can't be penetrated with the light. And so Rumi begins his magnum opus, which is actually 25,000 lines of poetry. It's actually a single poem that's 25,000 lines, which is meant to take the seeker through all the stages of self-realization into the divine presence. He begins it all with this metaphor of the reed flute. Listen to the sound of the reed as it tells a tale complaining of its separation, saying, ever since I was severed from the riverbed, I've longed for return. So these words talk about the human being as spirits. We're from the divine presence. That's the riverbed, right? Like the reed is from a river, but then it's cut and taken into dry land. But then when given breath, it comes back to life and it weeps this desire for return. And so Rumi is saying we're all like that because we're all spirits who are in the divine presence. But then we were taken out of that divine presence and brought into this world, this dry land, the dunya. And we come into this world through our mother's womb weeping. And that's the weeping of desiring to return back to the alam al-arwah, the realm of the spirits. But the contention of Maulana Rumi, and of course of all the great prophets and saints of human history, is that there is a way to return even in this world. Die before you die. Mutu qabla an tamutu. And to realize our true spiritual nature, even while we're embodied in this world. And how do you do that? By becoming empty. By becoming empty. And as he says, let nothing be inside you. And then he says, then you'll taste the sweetness. And so, of course, Ramadan is about being empty, but then he says, and then he gives the beautiful example of our Mother Mary, that she was so empty of her ego that she could receive the divine, the breath, right? What was cast into her by Sayyidina Jibreel, alayhi salam, of the spirit, Ruh Allah, Sayyidina Isa, alayhi salam, our Master Jesus, the Son of Mary. So it's not just about the emptiness, but it's what is poured into you when you become empty. Right? And so the goal is becoming empty so that you can be full. But until you're empty of yourself, you can't be full of the divine light. And so the whole path is really about that. Now, it's much easier to say that than to do it, as we all know. Being empty of the self is a lifelong practice. And so we ask that Allah gives us the ability through this gathering and through this blessed month that is approaching to become more and more empty.